Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. December 1st. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving Day weekend as well. Now, of course, coming back from this holiday, all markets are down. Bitcoin's down 5.26%. Ethereum is down 6.75%. I saw there was some type of breach or something. I don't fully understand it. I know it's down, bringing the rest of our market down with it. We have Powell speaking at 8 o'clock tonight. Okay. We have data coming out today, 9:45 and 10 a.m. And a slew of data for the week. Okay. Now, silver's rocketing. I'm loving that. I wish I added more to my silver position, but I will later if it keeps going. Um, we had outages last Thursday overnight into the Friday morning. The cooling system for the data center for the CME went down. Pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy that could even happen. So a lot of stuff going on. Trump in Venezuela. Just the news never stops. The news never stops. So with that being said, let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Stephen Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure of the market, slow supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Also use anchor view ups, market internals when the market opens, bookmap, and I use my trusty weekly expected move indicator that I run every Monday morning and give it to you for free in my Discord. Okay, hopefully you join me every morning. I give you the market story, the news, the economic calendar, bunch of the technical analysis, followed by long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES futures. Hopefully you can subscribe. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. You can go to YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay. Let me be your indicator. All right. Now let's get right into the futures watch list here. The VIX is up 11.07%. We're up to an 18.16 VIX. I think we're at a 16 VIX around on Friday. Silver's up 1.34. Crude up 0.96. Gold up 0.78. 10-year yield up 0.62. That's going to hurt mortgage rates. Dollar is down 0.40. Dow's down 0.45. 30-year bonds are being sold. ES down 0.67. Nasdaq's down 0.90. Russell's down over 1%. Bitcoin's down 5.24%. Ethereum down almost 7%. Moving on to the Max 7 Plus here. Boeing. Boeing was just up a percent before, but now it's down to it's up 0.53. We'll go to the one percenters here. Tesla's down 1.39, Meta down 1.62, Nvidia down 1.63, Broadcom down 1.85, AMD down 1.88, Coinbase, the Bitcoin proxy, down 4.77%. I'm sure you got a lot of longs buying that dip, panicking. Okay, volatility, the risk off market might be still here. Not sure. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I got a different profile or something, Mark. Like it. And let's go to top sectors here. You got the mining stock up 1.47%. All right. Chevron up. Exxon up. Let's go to the one percenters who are down here. Okay. Just give me one sec here, guys. My daughter needs me for something. All right, sorry about that. Let's look at the one percenters. Well, let's include Uber in there, down 0.98. Qualcomm down 1.09. Oracle down 1.11. GEV Vernova down 1.63. And Palantir, the laggard, down 1.75. Let's look at a little bit of a granular list here. You have Accenture. I believe that's Accenture. Up 4.11. DoorDash up 3.09. Bosch Health up 2.05. Wynn Resorts up 2%. Laggards, probably Bitcoin related crypto stocks. Riot down 6%, over 6%. Mara down 6%. Iris Energy, Bitcoin ETF, MicroStrategies, Hood. These are all usually move with Bitcoin. Shopify down 3.87. Oscar Health down 3.78. Okay. Let's move on to sectors. All right. Energy is the leader, barely a leader. And then we have financials down 0.58, industrials down 0.59, technology down 0.91, and semiconductors, your risk off indicator down 1.29%. 1.29%. Okay. I'm going to move on to economic calendar. Let's go over that. Today we have 9:45. We have S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. 10 a.m. we have ISM, bunch of ISM numbers. All right, 3-month. Let's get the 2-star here. Powell speaking at 8 o'clock. Powell speaking at 8 o'clock. All right. Let's look at if there's any Trump stuff today. I don't see anything. Now, we know about Bitcoin. This is what it says here. Okay. The sell-off was sparked after Yearn Finance said it was investigating an incident in its, I don't know what that is, YETH liquidity pool. Reports indicated that a flaw had allowed an attacker to mint an extremely large amount of YETH tokens, effectively flooding the pool with invalid supply. In simple terms, the exploit enables someone to create tokens out of thin air, undermining confidence in the pool's backing assets and prompting traders to rush for the exits. The disruption stoked immediate volatility in correlated assets, with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies falling sharply. There you go. All right. Let's see if there's any stock news this morning. Let me just refresh this one time. I'm just trying to see here. All right. Let's move on. Flurry of Fed dissents in coming meetings could pose market political risks. Tesla plummets in key European markets in November, but new car sales jump in Norway. Amazon and Google launch multi-cloud servers for faster connectivity. AI helps drive record 11.8 billion in Black Friday online spending. Let's see if there's anything in here. Okay. Let's move on. Where are we going to move to? I'm going to go right into daily charts here. Okay. So, pretty big recovery, right? Pretty big recovery. Not just straight up, right? Pretty straight up, right? So what we did is you broke the previous week's range, broke the downtrend. You have a swing high here. So that swing high is about 685. That could be, now we are down to 678. We're here. Back underneath this trend. Okay, we're not back in the previous week's range, but Let's see. I know all over the internet was this hanging man on the monthly chart. Um, the Bitcoin probably spooked markets. Okay, so that's where we're at right now, right here. So we're gapping down pretty substantially. Okay. Now the new expected move for the week is $13. $13. Looking at 670 to the downside, 696 to the upside. Okay. Let's look at futures. So you can see futures here. That's last week's highs. Notice that's the resistance. Okay, we opened here, pushed up to that last week's highs, and went all the way back down. Now this could be setting up a swing high, and this is pretty straight up. Okay, we're above the 50, the 20-day. All right, the 9 EMA daily. So let's see what this market can do. Okay, let's look at Qs. Also broke that downtrend. Right, also broke the previous week's highs right here. Okay, but now we're at 613.30. 613.30, you are right about here. Okay, right about underneath the previous week's highs. You're right above the 20-day moving average. Okay, let's look at futures. Now you got a ton of resistance here at 625. Okay, let's look at futures here. So you can see the same thing. Look, we hit last week's highs, sold off, broke the previous session's lows, and you're hitting the 20 and the 50-day moving average. You're hitting the 20 and the 50-day moving average on the backside. Okay. Let's see what transpires today. Now, you can see the markets have made a nice bounce, right? A lot of times you make that kind of bounce, you need to consolidate. I don't know if we sell off. In the first 2 weeks of December, a lot of mutual funds have to do distributions. Sometimes that causes like a consolidation or a pullback in the markets. That we'll see if that happens, and then you get the Santa Claus. Who knows if that happens? I don't know. I'm just letting you guys know. That's what happens every year. Okay. Now let's look at the breadth here. Breadth approved. Okay, that's nice improvement. 57% of stocks over their 50-day simple moving average. That'll probably change today, but that is a lot better than 29% or 30. Okay. Now we move on. Let's get right over to the hourly charts here. Here's our hourly charts. All right. Let's look at this market. All right. So you can see a bunch of garbage trading here, right here. Horrible. That's just because it's a holiday. Okay. You could see last week's highs right up there. This is a previous week highs. Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Just had to give my daughter some medicine. All right, so let's look at this. Okay, from this low, this anchored view up, we have never tested that. And you can see we just kind of consolidated, pushed up, consolidated, pushed up. This is susceptible right here to get taken out. It's very weak, very poor structure here, that move up. Okay, so I'm going to note that. We kind of just sliced here. That also could get pushed right back up. We have major supply zones here. Okay, so you can see this is the week to date, month to date anchored VWAP here. That's acting as resistance right now. Okay, major level here is the most traded price at the current month is a 67.60. We are above that. I would say below that, I would say bears might take back control. 67.60. 67.60. Okay. You have a little bit of a supply zone here that I can mark off. Let's do that real quick so I can just put that on the chart. Let's do this here. Oh, what did I just do? I just moved that, didn't I? Let me get rid of this. I believe this was up here. I'll have to fix that. I know that's pretty much where it was before. This is a little supply zone here. I'll do that later. All right. That's really it. Okay. So we have two big, what I really wanted to say, we have two big supply zone here and a big demand zone here, and we're trading in the middle of it. So I want to do business here or here. Okay. Let's go to NASDAQ. Okay. So the NASDAQ, you can see last week's highs and futures. Got a wick there. Supply, demand, price action's kind of in the middle. Okay. So this is the anchored view up from the all-time highs. It's light blue. This anchored view up from these lows over here has not been tested. And again, the anchored view up from the month and the week is obviously they're equal because it's a new week, it's a new month. Okay. So you have a high volume node from the past here about the 253.20s. That's acting as resistance right now. And you have that poor structure here that could get taken out if we lose around the 251s. Go right back to the 248s, right where the anchored VWAP from those lows are. So that's how we're looking in the hourly charts. Okay. Volumes decent today. Volumes back with this little bit of volatility. All right. Now we're going to move over to the market profile, volume profile. And we'll get into it here. All right, let's mark off some levels here. Give me one sec. All right. So what I did here, all right, you're going to notice that I just merged every session since Wednesday into one big session. Okay, I wanted my screen cleaned up. It was a bunch of crap sessions, and then I just want to look at it at one big session. Even though I know we're gapping down, this is like the real last session we had that was real, not Friday's half session. Okay, so we are inside that Wednesday session. Okay, price is right here. So you can see it. It's kind of a balanced profile. And you can see the 24-hour 68.30 right here has been the most traded price in the 24-hour. You can see the sheer volume here. Okay. And we bounced right into this demand zone. Okay. Now this had a little bit of a poor high. That was corrected right here. So I'm not really going to pay attention to that too much. All right. So I'm going to work off this right here. So we have demand, big demand zone here. Okay. So like I said, it's really a matter of this big demand zone, which encompasses a previous week high right here. Okay. This is last week's highs right there. We do have supply right here. So that's what I'm saying. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. It's really all about this area here, and like I said, this is not the best because you have two very large supply and demand zones and prices here. And in the middle, you have that 68.30, the most traded price of the last week, right here. So, like I said, and they're pretty large supply and demand zones. So, generally, right? Generally, all I'm going to look for is this. Let's just get right into scenarios here. Pretty simple today. What I'm going to do here, what I'm going to look for. All right, if I'm bullish, remember, I want to stay above the 67.60s, right? I don't know, I have a large demand zone here. I just want to see, in Wednesday's lows here, what do we do? Do we come into Wednesday's lows? What do we do in this demand? If we get support and a lower high, you should target that most traded price of the week, 68.30s. Now that actually does start the supply in this large supply. So that could be it. But do we work off this and maybe go back up here to last week's highs, the 68.63? I don't know. But this would be a decent one. Okay. You can get a deeper one. This would be the bear trap here. If you hit 6779s, recovered, also decent. Below this, I'm probably not interested in a long. Okay. Now, shorts. Okay. Shorts now. Let's talk about it. You know, we have this large supply up here. Okay. So, a couple things here. You know you have the 68.30 here. And a supply, right? So what could happen is this as well. Let's say the market dips down and we do go into this supply zone. The 60, actually, let's do that over. Let's say we go into this supply and the 68.30 fell, retest 68.30. You could short into this demand zone, right? Targeting Wednesday's lows. That's your 67.95s. You got a major support here at 67.79. Okay. Then you might come down to the 67.60s. Okay. Then you have that poor structure I talked about where single prints are. And it could really get cooking. I don't know if we do that. I'm just saying that's there. Okay. I'm just saying that's there. Honestly, that's probably my favorite short if in this area. Go into supply, you go into the most traded price of the 24-hour in the rolling week. At 68.30s, you fail, you probably can get a nice short. All right. Nasdaq, I did the same thing. I merged those sessions. You can see the sheer amount of volume right here in that market profile. Okay. So, how are we going to, well, let's mark off some levels here. Same thing. You have a major supply right here. You have a 24-hour, same thing as the ES, 24-hour most traded price right in the middle here. That's your 25320s. That's also a high volume node from the past. And you have a demand zone right here. All right, the bottom of that is basically Wednesday's lows, 25124s. Price is right by that demand zone. You have a previous week's, that's not, let me make sure that, oh, this is a previous week's highs right here. This is last week's highs. So the same thing applies. Look at the sheer amount of volume though. That is pretty serious, right? So same thing. It's pretty easy. Let's do the NASDAQ scenarios. Alrighty. Let's start off with the longs. Price is here. Any dip, right, into this demand zone, I just want to see how it reacts. That's all I want to see. If we get a higher low, you can go ahead and target at 25320s, right? The most traded price of the rolling week in the 24-hour session. Also a prior high volume node, right? Anywhere above that is gravy. If you can hold that, hold that. You try to work. I would not think this would be easy. Probably try to test last week's highs. Okay? But I really think this is the move right there. A little bear trap. You could go all the way down to 25059s and think you're going to go recover, and then you want to target the same thing, 25320. That's the longs. Okay? Short side, I'm going to look at it like this, right? Short side price is here. We know there's a major level here, 25320s, okay? Major. You can see the sheer volume, okay? So if we come up there, try to take it out, hit supply, fail, retest, that's a short. You're going to target first these overnight lows, 25193s. Then you're going to go to that Wednesday's lows, 25124s, a roundabout. Okay. Now, if you break 25059s, you could fall right to the 248s. You lose that, that's even worse. I don't know if we do that today. I'm just saying that's a key level. It could just stop right here. Okay. I'm not expecting much today. Not expecting much today. Because, like I said, major supply, major demand, price is kind of in the middle of it. I think today will be a jockeying for a position today. Because that kind of took a little froth off last week. But we kind of just moved straight up. This just knocked the froth off it. Enough to make people a little nervous. All right? The market's going to have to digest this move. Okay? Let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. All right? That's it for me today, folks. Smash that like button if you enjoyed that analysis. That would mean a lot to me. Okay? And hopefully you join me every morning. Give you the market story, give you the market news, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, why the market's doing what it's doing. I try to give that to you every morning. Okay, give you a bunch of technical analysis, and then I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. All right, so we have a plan. We have a plan. All right. So remember, no trade's a trade. And if you want more in-depth coverage, okay, you want my live commentary, you're going to join my Discord. It's Confluence Trading. All right. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay, and when you go to my Discord, you get my live commentary. Lately, I haven't had as much posts because I'm live and I'm giving the golden nuggets live. So come join me live if when I go live, okay? And on the if you go to my weekly expected move channel, you'll see the free indicator. You could put it on your Thinkorswim charts, and then you can see it on your phone. It's a wonderful thing. 70% of the stocks, the tickers that I have on that list that are very important, 70% of the time they stay within those expected moves, expected range. All right, pretty big edge there. I provide it for free. I run that Python script every Monday morning. So take advantage of that, sign up, and get that indicator. All right, now everybody have a great day. If I see you in my room, that would be amazing. If not, I'll see you tomorrow morning.